Hey everybody, it's Lindsay from Lindsay's Keto Kitchen. Tonight we are making these pizza roll-up, these doughs. What are they called? Low-carb pizza rolls. So right now I have just put a cup of warm water into my mixing bowl. And then I've added 2 packets of this active dry yeast. It calls for half of an ounce, and each of these are a 1/4 ounce pack, so you need 2 of those. It says just to stir it in and let it sit there to activate, so I'm waiting for it to activate. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you guys about the flour that I'm going to use. So this, you can't really see it. It's called carbulose. It says low carb flour. And when I found this recipe on Pinterest, I went and I ordered this from Amazon, and of course they delivered it very quickly, but I hadn't seen the nutrition facts on it, and it says that the total carbs, or total net carbs, I wrote it down, are 19 per serving, which is 3/4 of a cup, and this requires 2 cups, and I was like, oh, that's too many net carbs, so I did the math right here, and you can see. So the math says that if you have 12 slices of this, it's actually 10 slices, so even less, it's only 5 net carbs a slice. So if you're trying to fit in your 20 net carbs, you can just make sure you have room for 2 slices of this, or 3 if you haven't had a lot of carbs. And I have been fasting today and I'm starving. I just had 1 fat bomb, and so I'm going to enjoy this. The other cool thing is that if you are drinking ketones, just drink your ketones and don't worry as much about it. So I think the yeast has sat long enough, so we are going to add flour to the bowl. Okay, I'm going to get ready to add the flour. I'm going to move the camera so you guys can see what it looks like. So I have my dough blade on my mixer, which is what it recommends, and now I'm going to put 2 cups of flour, add slowly. Okay, so that's my 2 cups of flour. Carbulose, remember that's what it's called. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. It's actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. We're gonna let
it must be easy.
See, it's starting to get, let's see if I can turn it into a dough ball. Doesn't look like it's going to take very long. It also looks like I might not be able to feed my family with this. Maybe I should double the recipe. Okay, there we go. So here's the dough ball. Now I'm going to take this dough ball and put it in my prepared bowl that I sprayed with olive oil, and I'm going to cover it with a towel and leave it for about an hour. And while that is rising, I'm going to cook some bacon and some ground beef. We also have, actually, venison. We also have pepperoni, and I'm going to also saute some vegetables. So move this over. Yep, I think I'm almost finished, Belly, for right now. It's a nice dough ball. Stick it in there. Okay, now we're going to cover it with a dish towel. And we'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So I went ahead and made the first pizza rolls to see how it would work, because I wasn't sure exactly how that was going to go. And so now I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to do it. It was actually pretty easy, and the first ones are in the oven. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so what you need to do after you have prepared your dough and it's risen, you need to get a baking sheet, like a jelly roll pan, cookie sheet, and put some parchment paper on it. And then you also need another piece of parchment paper here. Take a little bit of the flour, just cover it up. Cover your hands. And then you grab your dough. This is what it looks like. I'm going to put it down here. And I bake cakes as well, ironically. And this is one of my cake fondant rollers, and I like to use this better than a regular rolling pin. So the trick is just getting it into like a rectangular shape and also keeping your parchment paper from sliding around on your countertop. So I'm going to spread this out like so until it's a 1/4 inch thick. You don't want to go too thin, because if you put a lot of toppings on your pizza and you start to roll it up, it'll break, it'll crack, and then nothing will stay inside your roll, and then that wouldn't be good. So I like to just work towards the corners, try to square it off. We put pepperoni on half of the other pizza rolls, and the other half we put bacon, and that one's for the kiddos. And this one we're going to put sauteed red peppers and onions, and we also have some bacon. We also have some venison, ground venison that we cooked, kind of like ground beef. This feels a little bit full in the middle, so I'm going to roll that out. The recipe said if your dough is too sticky, you can add a little bit more flour, but I don't think that I need it, which is good because I don't want to add any more flour if I can help it. Okay, this feels about good. Okay, so now I'm going to get my sliced cheese. I'm going to use a combination of provolone and mozzarella. I used just provolone on the other one. And you take your cheese and you want to cover your dough, leaving about a 1/2 inch so that it doesn't all leak out the sides. Actually, I'm going to skip here. Place it like this. Okay, so we've laid the cheese on there. Now we're going to put our sauce on. And I'm just using leftover Rao's Homemade, what I used the other night when I made the pepper and sausage spaghetti squash casserole. Lowest carb option here. Just kind of pour it over top, as much or as little as you want. With the first one that I did, I put too much sauce on the end and it kind of mushed it out, so I would like err on the light side down towards the bottom of wherever you're going to be, the direction you're going to be rolling. Let's see here. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to put my toppings on. Okay, so here are my onions and peppers. I'm just going to kind of dump them on here. Heavy on the onions for me because I love onions. You don't want to add too many things, at least from what the directions said, because you can, again, cause the dough to crack and break. Layer some peppers on here. I'm trying to decide which meat I want to do, if I just want to do the venison or if I want to do the venison and the bacon, or just the bacon. I think I'm going to do venison. Let me go grab it. Okay, so here's my venison. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle it on. Like that. And then you cover it with cheese. They said use mozzarella or whatever. I kind of like a variety, so I'm going to use this since we had it in the refrigerator. Sprinkle, sprinkle. My timer just went off for the other rolls that are in the oven, and they smell fantastic. First, while they're finishing, I'm going to show you how to roll these. So you turn it the other direction, so you're going to be rolling towards you, and you kind of roll up the edges a little bit with your fingers. It is going to try to stick to the parchment paper, so you have to just keep pulling the parchment paper. But you want to kind of create like a jelly roll. Oh, this is going to be full. It's going to come out the other end, but that's okay. This is going to be delicious. Okay, you see how big this one is? This one is huge. I think I'll eat that. Okay, I'm going to get the other ones out, and then I'll show you how to cut these. Okay, the directions say that they should take 12 to 15 minutes to cook, but I have had mine in there for 12, and now I've put them in for another 5 because I don't think they're close yet. They're supposed to be bubbling and kind of brown, golden brown on the top. and the dough doesn't feel cooked all the way and it's not golden brown. So now I'm going to show you how to cut these and put them on my pan to go in next. So make sure you have a sharp knife. I made sure my husband sharpened this one again. And you're going to cut this into 10 or 12 pieces. They're a little over an inch. I guess that depends on how you roll out your dough. And then you're going to plop them face up or on the side onto your pan. So I started cutting in the middle so I could kind of cut evenly, and then I kind of marked it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'm gonna actually start at this end. You want to try to keep your roll together as best as possible, and I waited to transfer them to the pan until after I cut them all to try to hold it together. You know, like when you cut a loaf of bread and you try to wrap it up in tin foil like banana bread or something, and the pieces on the end fall. That's what happens to this. So you want to keep it all together, cut all the way through. When I opened the oven to check on the the first pizza rolls, they smell amazing. This might be my replacement dough for cakes that I make, at least the birthday cakes that I'm making for my kiddos. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so the end pieces are going to be the hardest ones to transfer over. Let me move the camera. I'm going to start on this end. You kind of want to peel it up from the bottom and hold it together. And then flip it over here. The end ones are not as pretty as the ones in the middle. And like right there, I hadn't cut through the dough all the way, so you need to use your fingers. And then I've got some leftover toppings that mushed out the end that I'm just going to pick up and put on top of these, especially the end pieces that didn't have as much in them. Okay. Now let me check what's in the oven and I'll show you what it looks like. These are the ones I just took out of the oven and they look fantastic. They were actually in the oven for about 20 minutes as opposed to 12 to 15. I don't know if it's my oven temperature, but they just started to brown and I wanted to make sure that the dough on the inside was cooked as well. So the other thing that I liked about the parchment paper is that it made cleanup very easy. I just got to roll it all up and put it in the trash can and then wipe the counter down. Okay, everybody, I just took ours out of the oven and they smell and look fantastic. Just so you know, I did sprinkle some cheese on top, and from the looks of it, I think I might like a little more sauce, so I might put some on there, or just so you know, when you make them, that you might want to add some sauce before you roll it up, or I think it might be even better just to dollop some on top while you put them in the oven. But anyway, this is what they look like. So yummy. Okay, we're getting ready to eat. I'm going to have leftover broccolini for my green, and we'll let you know how they taste. Thank you, guys.